started unboxing this before I even started recording this video. I was like, wait, let me go back, record this video, and I can do kind of an unboxing. So these are the drops, the berberine blend. That's what it is. So it's supposed to take like 30 drops a day. So that's the first thing. This is Pro Omega. It's in a gummy form. I can't swallow pills, so she made sure that everything I get is like gummies or drops or drinks or something. Vitamin D3 and then the Omega gummies. I've already been taking these as gummies, but she wanted me a much higher dosage, like hundreds times more milligrams than are in my normal like everyday gummies. So these are more like hardcore high dosage of vitamin D3 and Omega. And then this is Mag Soothe. It's a calming magnesium powder supplement with the deliciously tart raspberry lemonade flavor. So this I'm also supposed to take. All of these I'm supposed to take every day. Okay, so these are the goods. I have 2 teas on Amazon that I'm waiting to come that I'll be having every day as well. I wanted to film this video for a long time and I'm finally doing it. This is basically a health update. I think a year or 2 ago when a lot of this stuff was happening, I filmed a lot about my surgery roughly. So I'm gonna get into that to kind of recap everything that's happened and where I'm at now and what I'm doing moving forward, because I do want to make some videos even just for myself, kind of documenting like what I've tried and what I'm doing, just because I'm really trying to prioritize my health more. So I'm gonna make a snack for the first part of while we're talking about this because I'm hungry. So let's talk about the first half of 2022. I'm kind of breaking this up into halves of years because that's what makes sense. So the first half of 2022, I started feeling always full, and over the summer, like it got worse. Like I just really struggled to eat because I always felt full. Whether I focused on just eating 3 big meals, couldn't finish them, I'd be starving, take 2 bites and immediately feel full. Or if I broke it up and like snacked throughout the day, that also was hard and I still didn't eat much and I just wasn't getting enough nutrients. By the time the second half of 2022 came around, I had lost a lot of weight and was in a lot of pain. Just constant stomach pain was starting to happen, but then especially very painful menstrual cramps on my period. Like I just kind of constantly felt in pain in my stomach, but then I would have really, really bad menstrual cramps. And around like over the summer into the second half of 2022, into the fall and winter is when it started getting really bad and my cramps getting really bad, but also again, just constant stomach pain. And I lost a lot of weight because I couldn't eat for so long, at least not consistently. And so by the time fall came around, I had a couple or I guess just one ER visit where it was just so bad in the night that my mom had to take me to the ER. And they basically just put me on hardcore pain meds. It still didn't, probably took like 40 minutes to an hour to kick in. And then sent me on my way. We thought it might be an ulcer in my stomach that might be causing problems with my hormones and the cramps. So we went to a gastrointestinal specialist who I went for a few appointments and we did a procedure. We did an endoscopy where the camera like went down my mouth into my stomach and looked around. And there was no ulcer or anything like that. There was some inflammation, what they described as non-reactive or non-specific reactive inflammation. So it's a reaction to something. But that's pretty much all I know, is that there was inflammation in my stomach. I did a couple ultrasounds as well that nothing was really found on, nothing came up. Went to some chiropractors, got some standard processed supplements prescribed to me. And that brings us to 2023. So by the time we got to 2023, I was meeting with a gynecologist. I underwent laparoscopic surgery to look for endometriosis, because endometriosis, basically the lining of your uterus is growing on the outside of it and onto other organs. That could also be causing like my stomach pain, is what I was thinking. So they did the laparoscopic surgery and found nothing. No endometriosis, no ovarian cancer or anything like that. Like, we ruled out some of those big things. And then she basically just suggested to go on birth control, and I was just really feeling helpless. I was like, well, I don't want to do that. So what do you do for people who don't want to do that? And she's just like, everyone just goes on it. Like, she's just never had a patient who's like, no, I don't want to do that. Is there anything else we could try? All the clients are just like, okay, I guess, you know, birth control is the only way, because that's what they're told and that's what they have to do. I really didn't want to do that. So that was pretty much spring of 2023, which was also the end of my senior year. So if you look back at some of my videos where I was talking about my health back then, it's during my senior year while I'm also taking like college classes and trying to do speech and debate. One of the tournaments I went to in a wheelchair because it was like a week after the surgery. Oh, so bad. By then, you can imagine I started feeling very discouraged and I just kind of gave up. I was too busy focusing on graduating high school, and right after I graduated high school, I moved out, got my own place. I got the paralegal job I have still. I was too busy to focus on my health. So then all of summer 23, basically all of summer, fall, and winter, into spring and summer of 2024, last year, I just put my health on the back burner. I lived off of Tylenol, eventually switched to ibuprofen, which doesn't really help much unless I take it like the day before on a very strict schedule and I try to keep up with the pain. It's bearable. It's just still not great, and that's only if I do that. A lot of the times I don't like take it a day before and it ends up being like an hour before, which is not soon enough, and then it still takes like forever to catch up with the pain. And so then it's just a constant like probably like 2 days of just trying to catch up with the pain. Then finally, summer of last year, 2024, I was like, I can't live like this anymore. I need to start doing something again. I need to take this seriously now that I'm kind of like settled into, you know, my own adult life. Let's pick this back up. So yes, we're into the second half of 2024. So like near the end of summer, start of fall, I took a saliva hormone balance test and a food sensitivity test. The food sensitivity test, a lot of things showed up in the red and like saying that my gut can't handle it, but that could just be because of how inflamed my gut is and how much I haven't been taking care of it or like prioritizing it since I found out there was inflammation in it. And so now it's at the point where a lot of things just bother it. The hormone balance test, a lot of things were, not a lot of things, but a good amount of things were like not in the places they were supposed to be. Like I think, I can't fully remember, I think my estrogen was super high, and so the doctor put me on progesterone for like 3 months, a small dosage every day for 3 months, and see what that does. So I think that was September, October, November I did that, and there wasn't even the slightest bit of relief or change on my cycle or on my period when that happened. I want to back up and say, at this point, pretty much since I moved, like in summer of 2023, my constant stomach pain stopped, and so I was able to like eat a lot and try to gain back weight, which I did. It's still at that point just my painful menstrual cramps. I didn't have the constant stomach pain anymore. With a lot of the research I've done and talking to my nutritionist, who has lots of research in this, and just putting lots of pieces together about like the environment I was living in for a few years as I got more sick, I really think it was probably a mold sensitivity. My parents live in a very old house. This is a story of like lots of women who have like very high sensitivities to mold, or mold allergies even to that extent, which I'm not sure exactly which I might have, because I never got tested for it. It might be something I do in the future. Right now I'm you know, out of that environment and not in it, like, consistently, probably once a week or once every 2 weeks, which doesn't seem to flare it up as much. There was like a time period where for like probably 2 or 3 weeks I went over there like 2 or 3 days in a row last fall, and my constant stomach pain started to flare up, and it was that same kind of pain that like was in from the middle of my chest all the way down through to my stomach, is the kind of pain I was living in all of 2022 and 2023 when we couldn't figure out what was going wrong. But once I moved out, I had my own place and had a bit of that distance, my constant stomach pain went away. Blame that on what you will, tie that to whatever cause you will. I have determined it was a mold sensitivity just because that's what makes sense with a lot of the research I've been doing, and that could be a cause for a lot of the other stuff that I am still dealing with, because it can cause hormonal imbalances, trouble breathing, which I had that for a while, and to an extent still have. So that's just a side note. That's no longer an issue now. At this point, still just dealing with the very painful menstrual cramps, and also, like, obviously my skin is not the greatest, and so that kind of all-in-line thing is stemming from the same problem, which would make sense. So anyway, yeah, I tried progesterone for 3 months, no slightest bit of change or relief in my menstrual cramps, and so I gave up on that and moved on. The doctor I was with who prescribed me like the progesterone, she was very like anti-birth control, and like if you're trying to, at least for if you're trying to balance your hormones, you need to use real hormones to try to balance them, not artificial hormones, which is what birth control is, which I really liked. I liked that approach and that perspective. But then once the progesterone didn't work, she just wanted to put me on Orlissa, which you can research that if you want. Just a quick Google search and looking at that main page told me everything I needed to know. It's not good for long term. Like, you shouldn't be on it for more than a year because it destroys your bones. So it wasn't a long-term solution. And you can't take it while pregnant, which, I mean, my husband and I are open to life. We're not actively trying to have a child right now, but we are open to life. And so I don't want to be on birth control or any medication I can't take while pregnant. Or that would be like seriously dangerous, at least. So it's like the 3rd or 4th doctor I'm on, and I gave up on her. She was like, okay, I give up on you. Well, I gave up on her because it felt like she was giving up on me. She was like, well, the progesterone didn't work, so we're gonna just try the closest thing that technically isn't birth control, but, you know, has all the negative effects of birth control, basically, minus the one positive effect of why you would take birth control to prevent a pregnancy. So yeah, so that brings us, so that was November, so that brings us to kind of now of what did I find in November and what am I trying now and what am I doing now. I do have to go, so we will continue this in the evening when I get my teas. Probably Amazon will deliver them by then as well. But that is the background. Gonna finish my snack and go. I'll be right back. Bye. This may or may not be several days later. Got out of the shower a little bit ago and have been cleaning and wanted to sit down and do this while I still have time and before I have to leave. In watching lots of YouTube videos, I found this nutritionist. I'll link her YouTube channel below. It was a video like how I cleared my skin by healing my gut. Which, you know, my skin is one of the things that I would love to work on, and I think is caused by hormonal imbalance and just the different other problems I'm having. I watched her video and it was a few years old, several years old really, but in the description box it said that she noted like update, I'm now a nutritionist practitioner. I followed through her website and saw that she had free 15-minute consultation, or free 30-minute consultation to kind of just talk through some of the symptoms you have, the things you've tried, and the approach you want to take. You can hear about her approach and what she helps people with, and if she's seen some of those same symptoms and what has worked for a lot of people. And so I did that 30-minute phone call consultation. She's a lovely person. It ended up being almost an hour actually, so she wasn't even like strict on time. Like, she really cares and wants to help and prioritizes. Doctors, yes, a lot of them do have good intentions and they care about you, but a lot of doctors are in it for the money, and it's a money-making business, and you prescribe things and you just get the patient to take something for whatever they're doing. They don't ever, hardly ever recommend lifestyle or diet changes or nutrition. If you're going to specific doctors for digestive issues or menstrual issues, fertility issues, they aren't gonna recommend diet changes or nutrition solutions, even though that's the foundation of your body and how it works, of what you feed your body, what's going into your body, the toxins that are currently in your body, how to detox, just things like that. The like basis of how your body works, the doctors don't look at or consider when you're dealing with those kinds of doctors for those specific kinds of issues. But then the nutritionists aren't specifically experts in those areas, so yeah. But the nutritionist, I found, she, in that first call, was very helpful in explaining, again, like the most basic stuff of how our bodies work and like how that will affect or lead to issues in the future. That like when you hear it, it's like, well, duh, yeah, that makes sense. But it's also like, why has no doctor in the past 3 years told me this at all? Like, I learned a lot about blood sugar and how that can affect your hormones, or the lack of good blood sugar regulation can actually destroy your hormones, especially if you go on with certain habits for days or weeks or months or years, which at this point I've had these symptoms for years and I haven't necessarily changed my lifestyle. I did go on an AIP diet, autoimmune protocol diet, just over 1 month. No, it was like 2 months that I was on it, but I didn't see any change at all in avoiding a lot of those big food groups. When I reintroduced them, I didn't really notice any flaring up. Like, it just all seemed useless, and that was when I was really getting discouraged and all the doctors were kind of giving up on me, because it was kind of leading up to my surgery that I did the AIP diet, I think. So yeah, the nutritionist just talked a lot about blood sugar, and a lot of my habits and the symptoms I have were starting to make sense just looking at it from even just that context. Obviously there's lots of things playing into all of the health problems going on, but like that made sense, and lots of different things were just adding up and making sense. So immediately since November, I've made changes to my diet to help regulate my blood sugar, of not spiking it in the morning with a cup of coffee or a bagel for breakfast. I always have protein first for breakfast before I even think about having a cup of coffee or anything else, just to slow that down and regulate my blood sugar throughout the day. Sugar, I almost never have stand alone. It should always be as a dessert to something. So that helps a lot with your blood sugar regulation. So that pretty much brings us to now, because in November I did sign up with that nutritionist, but I did not have my package with her start until mid-January, because I got married January 4th. And so I was busy prepping for that between November and January. Then on my honeymoon, so I didn't want to like feel like I lost 2 or all of the 3 months package that I have with her for now. That I'll probably end up extending depending on how these 3 months go. But so I did sign up for that package with her. She's recommended supplements, diet changes, lots of lifestyle changes. Like I'm taking Epsom salt baths at least twice a week. But that's where I'm at now, is going this route with a nutritionist of like trying to heal my gut, detox my body to help not only just heal my gut alone, which will bring down inflammation, which will help the other symptoms, but to also directly address like my hormones and those symptoms, and to like bring down the inflammation in my whole body. There's lots of things on my own I'm also doing, of like certain things I'm incorporating into my diet at certain times, like chia seeds or flaxseed, or lots of raspberries, just lots of cycle syncing my foods. So as far as diet as well, I'm also going gluten-free completely. And as of like a couple weeks ago, the nutritionist recommended I cut out refined sugar completely. So I'm still having some honey and maple syrup for that bit of sweetness and some of the things that I need. Eventually want to kind of cut down on that even. I just have such a sweet tooth, and I have like sweets every single day, so that's hard. So that is the health update. Like I said, I want to film like a health routine video of like showing you what I'm actually doing, the supplements I'm taking, the products I'm using, the lifestyle changes, and kind of explaining some of the why and the science and how your body works behind that. This was more of just a health update since I had recorded some videos in the past. I think this would be helpful to have to just kind of document, because only recently have I typed up kind of a recap for myself to look at of like, oh yeah, this has been a long, hard journey, and these are the different doctors I've seen and the different procedures I've had. And so I've kind of written out an actual like recap of what's happened the past few years. And so now this is just kind of another way to document that. Thank you for watching this video. If you want to keep following this health journey, subscribe if you're not already, like the video. I hope there's better updates to come. We will see, but I really want to get serious about this and document this. So until next time, God bless.